Hey, Motorman here, and this week we're going to talk about the timid rider. I'm going to show you how to recognize a timid rider that could be you and why you shouldn't be so timid. Also, at the end, I'm going to give you my tip of the week, so stick around for the whole video. All right, first thing you got to look out for with a timid rider, or to see if you're a timid rider, is from a stop. If it takes you a long time to get going, like this, and you're duck walking, or the person is duck walking, the bike is moving, and then finally they get going. I see this all the time with not just new riders. New riders got an excuse, but I see it with riders that have had many thousands of miles under their belts. Hey, here's another one I see. This also has to do with the slow takeoff, especially if you're behind one of these people and that traffic is coming and this rider is taking forever to get out onto the street like this, and then finally gets going. That is a dangerous situation, not just for you if you're behind the person, but for the rider themselves, because they look, they see traffic is coming, they feel like they can get out, and then they start to move so slowly that if the cars are coming at them at 40 miles an hour, they're covering 60 feet a second. Before they know it, they're right on top of the rider. So don't do that. Avoid it at all costs. Another thing I see timid riders doing is not keeping up with traffic. And again, if you're behind such a person, this creates a problem. People get impatient. It causes road rage, and especially if you're on a 2 or 3 lanes going in the direction you're going, and that person is in the left lane. The speed limit's 50 or 55, and the person's going 35, and I see this all the time, especially when there's a group of riders. That's not good. People are going to get pissed off at you. They're going to cut. If there's several riders, they'll cut in between them to do anything they can to try to pass. The left lane is the passing lane. If you're not passing, get the hell out of that left lane. Now let's talk about why people are timid. They think they're being careful, but and maybe they are, but the reason they do things like that is because they really haven't mastered their motorcycle. Let's face it, if you can't take off quickly from a dead stop, you haven't figured out the friction zone and how to put a little bit of throttle, let the clutch out, and do it quickly. It shouldn't take you about a second and a half to get going from a dead stop. Now, I don't mean a drag strip takeoff where you're going to rev the motor and pop the clutch, but you got to start letting that clutch out, feeding a little throttle, and getting the hell out of the way. If you find that very difficult, well, you need a lot of practice starting off from a stop. In addition, I see riders, if they're making a 90-degree turn, if I was turning in that road there, they slow down so much because they're afraid to lean the bike that the traffic behind them starts catching up, and if the person behind you isn't really paying complete attention, they don't expect you to be going so slow to make a right turn. They get up really close to you. Sometimes you hear them jam on the brakes, lock the tires. Don't be that person that does that. Practice leaning your motorcycle. You know, if you took the basic course and you took it on one of those little toy bikes that they give you, some of these MSF courses are using the Honda Gram, which is a mini bike. And then the person gets out of that school and they're not going to buy a Honda Gram. They're going to buy at least a mid-sized motorcycle. And all of a sudden, they're so intimidated by the weight of the bike that they're scared to death. Now, I know people who've done this for years are scared to death of riding. What enjoyment they get out of riding the motorcycle, I have yet to figure out. Because if you're scared all the time, how could you enjoy riding? So you want to be a safer rider, you want to enjoy riding much more, do some training. at the very least, practiced everything that you learned in the MSF course under controlled conditions. And don't go out into traffic until you're comfortable with the motorcycle. Like I said, the very least, being able to take off from a stop quickly, get out of the way of traffic, pull out safely. To be a safe rider, you have to be confident in your abilities to control the motorcycle. I get riders in my class, and these are almost always very experienced riders, experienced in that they have thousands of miles of riding before they come to the class. But when you see them try to lean, turn, or swerve, it looks like it's their first day, because what they really have thousands of miles of practice doing is cruising straight on down the road, making great big wide turns once in a while, and coming to an easy stop. That was a normal takeoff from a stop. Quickly, no drama. You don't have to slip the clutch or duck walk for the first 10 feet. Get that, as soon as that bike is in motion, get your feet up on the pegs of the floorboards. Here's my tip of the week, and this is an advanced exercise. I'm in this parking lot because I know the parking spaces are 9 feet wide, so 2 of them is 18 feet. I know this bike turns in less than 18 feet, so if I want to make a U-turn from a dead stop, and as I said, this is something that you better be good at the clutch and throttle and the rear brake and your head and eyes before trying this. So this is not for beginners or timid riders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the bars full lock. I'm going to get my foot up on the brake. I'm going to turn my head and eyes and look as far behind me as possible, and then I'm just going to go. Easily make that in less than 18 feet. I'm going to make this right-hand turn from a stop. I turn my head and eyes to the right. I never look at that double yellow line. And I take off and go. It's as simple as that. And it sounds very simple, and it is, but if you haven't practiced doing any of that, once again, if you're not good at coordinating the clutch and throttle, you're going to have problems with these simple little drills. So you need to practice them until you could do it without even thinking about it.